All right, on today's episode of How to Get a Ranch Job, we're going to go over the Weedeater. Today is this, we're going to use the steel Weedeater. There's a lot of them that are very similar to this, FS91R. There's a ton of different styles. They're all very similar, same with Echo, Home Elite, whatever. It's very similar ideas. Some are better than others. I prefer steel, and this is one of my favorite trimmer lines. I'll show you in a minute how to put that in. Super stout. It does really good on these gravelly areas up against fence lines. It doesn't break near as much as the homeowner. And then I use this nice 51 pre-mixed gas. That way I don't ever have to worry about if my mix is right. I always give it a really good shake before I fill it up. On this Weedeater, the filler neck is right here for the gasoline. These do not take motor oil. There are 2 cycles, so they have the oil built into their fuel system. And it's imperative, if you run it without oil in there and just straight gasoline, it'll score your piston and wreak havoc in this little thing, and it's pretty much done. So, and then this model has the primer bulb. Most steel do. This is something you want to push, I believe the recommendation is 6 times. You can see how it's filling, coming back up and splashing the fuel. All it does is pulling the fuel out of the fuel tank and priming the carburetor back up where everything needs to be. This doesn't have a fuel pump on it. It just runs. Once you get it primed up, it starts siphoning out of the fuel. There's also a filter in here and you need to always look in here on the older models after you've been using them for a while. You look for dirt, trash, and nastiness in there that can get, and if it does get in there, it needs to be taken off and cleaned out, or it'll ruin the whole situation. So, all right, we've punched this 6 times now. Also, you're going to want to look on here. We're going to go all the way to full choke in the choke position. This style, you push in and turn it all the way up there, and it locks in position. Some of these are going to have a lock here as well. This one doesn't have it. This has the kill button and, of course, the trigger. The other side of this trigger is if this isn't pressed down first, this one will not go, right? See how it stops? It's a safety mechanism so that you do this. So if you set it down or something, or it hits on your foot, it won't make the weed whacker whack you, because you're not a weed. So anyway, once we've got all this position, usually it's 1 or 2 pulls. You can hear it fire. As soon as you hear it try to fire, go back to half choke and continue starting it. As soon as it starts, once it's started, you just depress the gasoline and you got throttle. See how it zeroes it back out? Goes back down to operating. So we're going to give it a couple pulls here. Hopefully she fires up. All right, we got it to fire there. So I've moved it to half choke now, and she should fire right up. It's a little cold this morning. We'll let it fire it right back up. And see, like there, I didn't re-choke it. I didn't choke it again. I left it there because obviously it had fuel there. It's been a few weeks since I've ran it. Obviously it's winter time. I'm not running this a lot. And so we're just gonna let her warm up for a moment. Obviously, as you can see, the head is not spinning. There's a clutch in these, that centrifugal clutch, that when it gets RPMs, it'll engage the head. You can see, faster I spin it, the clutch will engage and the head spins. So usually, I like to go ahead and start, since I'm right-handed, I work left to right. So I always map my edges, what I want to do, and I'm going to work my way over there eventually, but I'm going to start here, go around the round pen, and go this way. So come along with me as we do some weed whacking. It's also really important in these rocky areas to watch for parked vehicles, anything with glass on it, buildings. If there's a lot of glass in the area, you need to keep your RPMs really low, which is rotations per minute. RPM slow, so we're not slinging stuff. I've seen a lot of things broken from weed whackers and mowers hitting rocks. So it's something I always want to keep in mind. The other thing I was going to go over is when the string gets low on the head and you need more string, this is a release button. And when you tap it on the ground, this will go all the way in and it releases the cassette spindle inside, and it'll let you have one segment of line added. And I'll show you how to do that. All right, I'm going to show you how to add string while weed eating. Keep a nice RPM, and then you tap it. You raise your RPMs up and then tap it on the ground. Make sure you don't whack anything that you don't want to cut. Obviously, you want to do it in an area where there isn't any lawn or grass or anything like that, so you're not making a huge mess or throwing rocks everywhere. So I'll show you how that works. All right, I was going to go over adding string to the head and turning it off. Pretty easy. You hit the stop button at idle and it doesn't affect anything. It just interrupts the electrical supply, so there's nothing to reset. That's a one-time thing. And that's another thing, if you happen to be weed eating and you bump it, turns it off, it'll do that. You just restart it. And once the machine is warm, you don't need to go through the choking process in the back. If it's been running, usually it just fires right back up. The only time you might need to do that is if you ran it out of gas for some reason. You're going to refill it, run through the starting cycle again. You'll reprime with the primer bulb. So, all right, this is where your trimmer line goes. Clearly, there's still some on here, so I'm just going to unravel it so that you can see how to put it in and then roll it up. These have a direction on them, because when you hit that button, if you've done it wrong, all it's going to do when you depress it, it's just going to wad it up inside, or it's going to lock up and nothing's going to come out. Okay, so in the middle of this setup, on the steel side, you can see there's two holes, one on each side, for each side of the string. And it runs this direction. You run your tip in this direction, and once it is fully in, then you turn it. See how it's the opposite direction? It wants to go that way because that keeps it in there. It creates a bind on it, and it bends those first little half-inch in, tighten it up. Also, I keep this super tight. See how I'm using my hand? I'm keeping it snug and my left hand and my right hand is turning. I'm keeping it tight and packed along there. If I don't, then I'm going to overwrap myself, and when it gets to that place, there'll be a knot and it will not come out. You'll have to stop and reset, and it makes for a bad day, and the boss is not happy. So we want to be able to do things correctly and efficiently. Every Weedeater head system is just a little bit different. So as you can see, I've placed it in there. I have my hand holding firm contact on it because there is a spring inside. As you can see, it's trying to jump up. So I'm holding it down into contact here. And once I get it in that little spot there, it'll lock. Make sure both strings are coming out of their proper hole, headed the right direction. And then this cover goes back on. You can see I released it just as I was putting it on there. It goes down and it locks both sides. Obviously taking it off is the opposite. We push and it releases it like that to take it off. Okay, make sure it's snapped in there tight and ready to go. All right, and you can see when you push this button down, it adds more string. See how it gave me more string? Just so you can see what it does in slow motion. But that's the Weedeater operation basics. I hope it helped. Thanks, and watch along for the next episode. Thank you and have a great day.